Kia ora, welcome back. This is Chris, and I've got a New Zealand vinyl finds video of things I've picked up during February and things that I played on my February Counting the Beat radio show. Starting off with what is playing, Hex, the Hill Temple. What a great record this is, full of riffs and hooks and catchy songs and yeah, really strong material. I saw them live late last year in Auckland, and I was really impressed with them, and on the strength of that was really looking forward to the album, and I'm not disappointed at all. I can see this getting a lot of play and being one I'm going to return to again and again and again. Really highly recommend this Hex album, which is on, I think Sloth Records is the label. Well worth picking up. Next up, this is, who put this out? Space Case Records. I think you would pronounce the name of the band Oven, like Southern but without an S, and it's called, that's the name of the album. The band is the And Band, which was a precursor to bands like Vacuum and The Puddle, based in Wellington. There was a record that came out on Silk Breeze a couple of years ago, which was the Spies of Bosworth Terrace, and I think, and which had a number of the same members. This is incredibly lo-fi, and yeah, I'm struggling with it, to be honest. I didn't end up playing anything on the radio because it was hard to pick stuff out. Someone asked me what it sounded like, and it sounded like, I said that it sounded like they decided to wander up to the Botanic Gardens, find some hallucinogenics, and then had stumbled back home and recorded an album on a cassette player. And yeah, someone else kind of said, well, it's probably not too far from the truth. So I'll give it some more listens and see what we can find rewarding in there. There's, you know, early hints here of what was to come from George Henderson and the Puddle. So there's a kind of little hints of those songs in there, but yeah, it's a hard listen maybe at first. I got three here from label Monkey Records, which is run by a New Zealander based in Berlin. And he's been over there for a while, but he's been doing vinyl releases over the last couple of years, but he does these really limited runs where they're lathe cut onto vinyl, so done in real time. And yeah, as I say, really limited releases. He did a few last year, and I've been keeping an eye out for them to pick them up. So he put 3 out this year. I'm not sure if you go to just search up Monkey Records and Bandcamp, you'll find your way to it. Broad Oak. So this is the guy who runs the label, which is Nigel Braddock, and here he's joined by John White, who's a Dunedin kind of folk musician, but here going under the name Jumps, which is his rapping name, and this is a 12-inch single, a couple of mixes of a song, Not a Lemur, which has kind of got some rapping from John White, but you've got kind of piano-based drums, kind of traditional kind of rock kind of musical back instrumentation. Just 10 copies of this one done, some on black, some on clear vinyl. Also out on Monkey Records, this one, this is, I don't know how the heck you say this, Nico Niznya. They're from Wellington, kind of Eastern European gypsy kind of fun time music. Some great kind of rollicking tracks on here, and the album Babushka's Balkan Banquet gives you a fairly good sense of what to expect on there. Great cover artwork. 40 copies of this one pressed up, or cut rather. Speaking of which, RDU, a radio station from Christchurch, has been doing some cuts on vinyl as well. They've been taking two New Zealand tracks a month and cutting them, doing 2 copies, one for the band and one for the station, and as a fundraiser they've got a Patreon going where you can sign up for $100 a month, and they're going to do 10 copies of those singles, and you can be one of the 10 people that gets that. Very, very tempting, but $100 a month put it beyond my means, but someone else would get that and have some great, incredibly rare and desirable records, and I wish it was me. Back to Monkey Records, third one out from them, and this is probably my pick of the bunch that they put out. I believe there's either 20 or 30 copies of this, I can't recall. It's Dystopia. I think the third album from Dystopia, but the first on vinyl. It's called Rough Art of the Spiritual. It's kind of ambient, ethereal, weird and whispery. The main protagonist is Liz Muir, it's got her poetry, she's reciting her poetry, kind of whisper, singing her poetry. Nigel Braddock from the label features on this as well as a bunch of both New Zealand and German musicians. Yeah, I just think there's some stunning material on here, particularly side B, the song Amongst the Trees, which is what I played on the radio. I just think it's breathtaking. Really, really great record, and great artwork again, but again in very, very limited quantities. This is a record that lots and lots of people have been talking about, raving about. The new one from Marlon Williams, a much more coherent effort than his first record. Songs written by him. The story about it being a breakup album was well told, I'm not going to repeat it. Gatefold sleeve. There's a bunch of different versions of this around, different countries, different independent distributors and so on, doing different colour vinyl versions. I know there's a white vinyl version, there's a blue vinyl version. This is the Caroline pressing, and so it is on red vinyl. It is a really good album, I've been really enjoying it, but as I say, you can hear about it and read reviews of it everywhere. What I particularly wanted to highlight though was he released a couple of songs in the lead up to the album, and one of them in particular I thought was a great song called Vampire Again, but it didn't make the album because it didn't fit the mood, but it has been done as a 7-inch single, and when you bought the album from his website, the 7-inch was available there. I'm not sure if it's available as a standalone 7-inch, but it's a great song, and it also came signed by Marlon Williams, so it was a nice addition to the album, backed by Down in the Garden. Which is another track which isn't on the album, so it's a good bonus. And finally, another 7-inch, Wax Chattels. There's an Auckland kind of indie alternative synth pop band, and they've been signed by Captured Tracks and Flying Nun, and to celebrate that they've put out this single-sided 7-inch, 250 numbered copies. There's two different designs. So what happens with this, these are stamped on the front, and it's been stamped on when the record is in the sleeve, so the stamp kind of runs over the sleeve and the label. Two different designs of stamp to choose from, and they come in various colours as well. If you buy it from Flying Out, they just pick a random one for you, but I was in store, so I got to rummage through and pick one out that I wanted. And that's kind of it. We've got a bunch of other things as well, a whole heap of crazy kind of Kiwiana that I might show in another video another time. But most of those things, other than the And Band, all featured on my February Counting the Beat radio show, so you can check that out, listen to things there. Also, you can check out past shows at mixcloud.com/countingthebeat, or photos and podcasts and updates and carry on at facebook.com/countingthebeat. Cheers.